Hello everyone, welcome to unit number 8 of this human resources management, and this one we will talk about establishing a pay structure, so pretty much how people get paid. This first slide, I think some of you are always very concerned of what you how much money you're gonna make if you're into this career of business. So I put a video for you of what really are really good business degrees, jobs, rather than what everybody tells me all the time, which is banking, government, and working for Chevron. No, there's many different jobs that pay very well. So check that out. Okay, very good. So anyways, we're not gonna go out to that. So first of all, like I said, paying is a very strong tool, right? And we use it in order to meet the company goals. We cannot meet those goals if we don't pay accordingly to what we require, right? And there's a very old saying that says, you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. And I agree with that statement, because in the end, if you are not willing to attract a good pool of employees, you're not really to treat them well, it is more likely that they will sabotage, they will boycott your operation and your productivity. So again, we have to have a good pay structure and pay decisions, and that go together with what we want to achieve. So for that matter, we have, firstly, we need to decide a couple things, which is first the job structure, how we're going to establish levels among them, and based on those structures that we have, according to the roles, according to the outputs that we want to get, we will give them a different pay, right? So and of course, with that matter, we will have pay levels. So we have different structures. We have, maybe I have it in here somewhere. No, it's not there. Sorry. We have different structures, and then of course we pay them differently, right? And there's always some averages between the different structures. It's like a pyramid. And then of course in that pyramid we will have also certain levels. No, we may say within level 1 we will pay 2,000 to 2 million to 3 million, one, within that level 3 to 4, etc. And we will progressively according to the importance of the job, right? There are some jobs that are easily being replaced, and for that matter we don't need to pay a lot, or unless sometimes the pool of workers is very little. Let's say, for example, I have a manufacturing company in the middle of Gangwon-do. Fantastic. You need to attract people to come and work there. So how are you going to do that? So maybe with salary, or maybe it's a job that nobody wants to do, right? So anyways, let's go and continue into this. So in this case, again, when we are going to require a pay structure, we need to understand a couple things. So first of all, legal requirements, if there's any minimum wages, or if a certain industry, because of occupational hazards, needs to pay us some certain rate. We need to understand the market forces, and we're going to talk about that. Well, actually, we're going to talk about all of these ones. And then we're going to talk about product markets, labor markets, the organizational goals, what you want to achieve. Like I said, you want high quality workforce, or you were just working horses. You need to think about your cost control, because in the end, you may hire employees that are not very good, but then your quality, you want to pay a little, but the quality is going to be jeopardized. So we have to think of that, and equity and fairness as how long we want to retain employees. You pay well, people want to stay there. People feel valued for what they're doing. So first of all, we need to understand we have to give equal employment opportunity. So payment should not base it on age, sex, race, or other protected status. You're gonna say, but how about degree? Well, it's not about which university you come from, I'll pay you more. It's the set of skills that you have that are necessary for performing this activity in a proper way. Then in that case, yes, a university degree, but not the university that you come from. Okay. So we have to make sure that we don't have any sort of discrimination. Not because you come from Yonsei, I pay you 3 million, and because you come from Kunmin, I pay you 1. That is already discrimination, and we shouldn't do it that way. So how we think of the economic influences of pay. First of all, the product market. So we will set it based on the company that we have, if there's a similar company with similar products, similar industry, and what is paid around that industry. Or the other one, we will think of the labor markets. So for example, in this case, in a certain market, let's say in the Korean market, how much is 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, and based on that, we will think whether it's a good salary or not. We will need to consider whether an employee can survive in that economy or not with that specific salary, because maybe it's too little, and then of course they cannot make it. And then they either may find a second job, or I don't know, it can be many things. We need to think of that. So in this case, like I said, we have to decide what to pay. So we have to decide pay ranges depend on the competitive environment. We want to be competitive with other companies or not, or we want to be market rate, which is average, everybody pays around the same, or we want top talent, we pay more, right? So here comes to understand what kind of employees I want, what's my strategy, how productive I want them to be. If like I said, I don't pay too well and I expect to squeeze them just because maybe I'm Samsung, that's something that is not going to work. And that's something that many of you going to know, saying like, Samsung pays so well. Yeah, but they squeeze you. They make you work for it. And it's not they pay a lot because they are Samsung. Very good. So in this case, we can do always the benchmarking. So the benchmarking means compare our payment to other institutions or other companies. So for that one, we have pay surveys of how much they get paid in that company, in this industry, and then based on that, we can develop a much better pay scale. So in this case, fairness, we need to talk about fairness. So first of all, the employees in their organizations, they must feel that every job pays the same. Unless, of course, if you have many years of experience, you have a lot of seniority, and you get paid more than me, fair enough, right? Did you do the job in a better way, or you have more experience or so? I understand that, but not because you are just Alex, you get paid more, right? The same thing also, different jobs within the organization for doing work at the same or different levels. So they must think, why this guy gets paid more than me on a higher position, but he does less than me. So they need to understand that maybe their job is more critical in a higher position. And then also what they think of other employees in the organization earn from doing the same job as they are. So in this case, like I said, equality. What I do the same as you, we get the same or not. Why you get paid more than me? Maybe because, I don't know. It could be many different reasons. Okay, and then what happens when employees perceive that they are not paid fairly compared to other employees? So if I get paid less than you, I will do less than you. And that is what happens, right? They might find a way to increase their outcomes. It could be like by stealing. I work in their restaurant, so I'm going to take some chickens to eat and bring them to my home, and then I'll eat them. Fantastic. Or in a bank, which is even worse, they will steal the money, right? Or again, they will go and find another job. And if they find another job, that means that also their productivity will be hindered. Or they might withdraw. We already talked about withdrawing the last week. So in the withdrawal also happens that if they don't feel they get paid well, they will just quit. And yeah, for some companies, employees are disposable, but for some others, they understand the difficulty of getting someone qualified for a certain position, and then of course it's difficult to get someone with the same set of skills. So when it comes to communicating fairness, this is the job of the company to deconstruct how their salary is paid. In this case, we must inform them based on their seniority, their experience, why they get paid what they pay, right? And that doesn't happen very often. And nowadays, internet makes it easy to gather wage and salary data. So here, for example, Glassdoor is a website that you can see whether you're paid right or not. So we have to think of that. So we have to evaluate the job in order to see how much we're going to pay. And then, of course, there will be extra points for paying more. In this case, like I told you, for example, it can be because of experience, you can pay more, maybe in the education, maybe you have some technical skills at other, so maybe I'm going to pay you more for that because you can do 2 jobs with the same education. The complexity, maybe something that is so complex that there's very few specialists on that, so I want to retain you. Maybe working conditions also can be, I pay you more because it's a very tough job. And then also responsibility, like I said, higher ranks have more responsibility because they have 3 or 4 employees under their arms, and then of course they need to pay them equitably. So also there's key jobs, right? In this case, we have we need to understand which jobs are critical, and then based on that also pay for those because they generate value in many different areas. So here we have to understand, here in Korea we don't do mostly the hourly wage unless it's a part-time, right? But I mean in America it's a different thing. And then of course in this case we will have to pay either, different pay structures are either pay by hourly wage by hour, or it can be a salary, which is like a monthly, which for full time, or it can be by each pay for each unit that we produce. It depends. Again, here piecework rate is not that common to be very often, but it depends again on the strategy of the company. So in this case, we have pay rates, which has we have determined salaries for non-key jobs. So in this case, for jobs that are not that critical, we need to establish what is the average of payment that we're going to do. And then, of course, that comes together with the pay grades, right? Sometimes a pay grades, like I said, it comes between, let's say, 2 and 5 million. But 2 and 5 million can be a massive difference. And that depends, again, on the skills on the employee. Sometimes people is not very happy with pay grades. So here we have, for example, a graph line of mathematical relationship between job evaluation points and pay rates. In this case, we have the higher you get in that evaluation, the likely your salary will be much higher. Right? So we have here, then we have the pay grades. Pay grades, like I said, grades we have from here to here, but there can be a massive difference between the sky and the sky. And well, here these grades are not so bad. It's only a difference of $1,000, no? So it's not that bad. So when we're talking about pay ranges, we have to talk about the red circle rate, which is a pay at a rate that falls above pay range for the job. So that means probably someone is getting paid way more, although he's not suitable for that payment. And also green circle rate, which is a pay rate that falls below pay range for that job. So it's like also much lesser than that. We also have pay differentials, and this is when we do adjustments. Let's say, for example, we send an employee to, let's say, Vietnam for saying something. So we want to pay them the same 3 million that we used to pay them in Korea. And you're going to say like, yeah, but the economy there is much lesser. So you will be very rich there. Yeah, fantastic. But on the other hand, the employee has to go through relocation. He has to bear with the many problems of relocating. So we have pay differentials, which means because of the hassle that you're going to go through in that country, that there's not the same services as in Korea, that you don't have your family, etc., we're going to pay you more. So differentials are based on adjusting the pay rate if there's any difference in working conditions. Okay. So in this case, we also have alternatives to job-based pay. We have the layering. Nowadays, companies are understanding that too many layers are not good, because in the end, the people is getting more prepared to do their job. They have more skills. So in this case, it's better to remove layers and pay people more, right? And also we have, rather than pay structures, like I said, there's fixed, like this one, no? We have fixed ones. No, everybody gets paid differently. That's all. Based on your skills, based on your... So here's like, if you have this degree, you can only achieve this, but you can achieve that. That is removed. And that's different. I think it's more fair. So anyways, that's it. So very good. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I will talk to you next week. If you have any questions, ask me anytime, and then I'll talk to you next week. Thank you sometime.